Welcome back to another episode of Delusions of Automotive Grandeur. Today's episode, Steven reveals a new car coming to his garage, and the guys talk about how weird the fan is in a 4-cylinder Jeep. Strap in. It's time for DAG Show. All right.
Wait, who's doing the intro?
We didn't clarify.
Okay, well
Who
then.
cares?
I'm going for it.
Go for it.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the wearing a knit cap in the middle of the summer edition of Delusions of Automotive Grandeur. This is episode 428,000.
Yeah, we're up there by now.
Yeah, we're getting close to that.
Definitely day 428,000 of the pandemic and quarantine.
This is my sad.
At least it
pandemic
feels
one.
it.
I know, man. You guys holding up?
Nope.
Hanging in there.
Brett's just like, no.
I'm finally back to work today, yesterday, but
Oh,
that's about it.
So you were on
And then-
furlough, basically. For the people that don't know this, how long were you on furlough for? Like,
I think it was 2 months and 3 weeks.
so 2 car notes. Well, you have to use some sort of car unit of measurement. We don't understand otherwise. Like
1/64th of a Camry.
What would it have been?
Charlie, it's water this week.
If we went on the past episode of what car would you buy for your first car, it would have been a Miata. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, there's this is important. We all, we have families, and occasionally you have new additions to your family. And occasionally when someone says what I just said, they're not actually talking about human beings, they're talking about new cars. And so I have an announcement. A stork is not a car carrying stork is going to drop a package off here. It's actually a large 18-wheeler because I'm shipping a car here. I bought a car, and I've managed to go the entire week without telling the two of you, which is kind of hard for me because I'm good at keeping like actual important secrets, but when it's like a really good present for someone, and I have to wait 2 months to give it to them for Christmas, it's bad.
All right. So hold on. So do we get to guess? Do you get to give us a few clues and give us?
I think we could do that.
All right.
And I do want to tell the story a little bit. Is in that this car, I've been using the term car, so it could be a car or a truck. But actually, I already told you it's not a truck, so it's a car. That'll help a little bit. But this car has been in the family for probably 25 years, almost 30 years. And it's not like, it was used in all these family memories. It's just in my uncle's garage for 30 years. But I got, for those that don't know, I have a very interesting and uncle who worked at Ford for many years, the production line in Ohio, built Thunderbirds, and
Developed the Mistachrome paint.
He has a lot of story about 1970s build quality, which I may or may not share publicly. I guess there's a statute of limitations. I don't think they can touch his pension. That would be the concern. But yeah, the 1970s in Ford. Let's just say the vinyl hardtops. That was not just a style choice. That was also like when they realized it was going to leak. They're like, that one gets the vinyl hardtop. That was actually a thing. Anyway,
let's put a vinyl hardtop on that.
Yeah, it's like that doesn't look like it's gonna work. We'll just cover it in vinyl, and by the time the whole car's rusting out after 3 years,
you'll be fine. They'll buy another one.
No one will know.
But he paid off his house in the 70s. He's a Navy vet, and he has all these cars. He's got tons and tons and tons of old cars. They're all in dry storage, and they're turned over every month or two, and they're all right. But they don't really tend to go anywhere. And so that's where this car's story is. I to be honest, I'm not entirely sure when he bought it, but I think it was early 90s. And got it for a song because it was the early 90s. And but he doesn't sell his cars. And so I got a call from him the other day, and he said he wanted to sell me this car. And my first response, because he doesn't do that, is, "Are you okay? Did you have some sort of health diagnosis? Something like that." And thankfully, that's not the case. It's literally just like he's getting older. He's been retired now for like 15 years, and he's basically just like, I can't keep up with this stuff. Like, I mean, I mentioned to you before, he has more cars than there are days in a month and a half.
Yeah, it's
Um,
better now than like
yeah,
definitely like later on when he like suddenly is rushed to or something like that.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I feel like
I think
last year there was that one story of what was it, that one guy who had like basically a used car, like a junkyard on his lot, and like basically kind of illegally had a junkyard, I guess, or at least it was deemed illegal, and the judge made him like set that like insane sell like 4 cars a day or something like that. Like
I thought it was like 4 or 5 cars a week or something on that.
or something.
order,
Yeah,
where
I don't remember.
it wasn't impossible, but it was definitely a lot
aggressive.
harder than what
Like
could have happened.
Like at that point, like I think you even like at least locally, like you have to actually be a dealership to sell that many cars.
Yeah, I think it's over 5 in a year.
Yeah,
State by state.
Yeah, so it was but yeah, good to hear he is being proactive about it and not reactive.
And the thing is he is a very self-aware person, not in a negative way. Like he's, all of us have like healthy attributes to our personalities, and then some parts that are not that healthy. And his healthiest is he can diagnose himself, and he knows. And so to sell a couple cars, and he's got too many to keep up with. And his words were, he's like, if I sell them to you now, I get to see you have fun with them. So so that's sort of the backstory. And he's basically, he's not giving it to me. I'm buying it for probably 1/7 of what it's worth, and he won't take a penny more. But I think I'm just going to wait like a year and just send him a check for some more money.
Yeah, we said 2 checks, right? They're coming. One will come in the mail now. One will come in the mail later.
Yeah, I'll just be like, yeah, that's what we said, Jim. I guess I'll say his name, Jim. I'll be like, yeah, like like we agreed to this. Here's some extra money, but I'm just gonna wait a little while, so maybe he'll forget that he vehemently denied me giving him any more money. But anyway, so if you guys do want to play a bit of a guessing game,
all right. So
I'm gonna.
Been in the family for 30 years.
Yes, and it's a car.
Okay.
And I told, I think Brent this in a text message, that maybe it's you too, is that maybe my intentions for use of this car will help you guess what it is, but probably not. This is the first time I've ever said this about any car ever, and probably any of us. I'm seeking a car, or acquiring a car, which I intend to make slower. And I intend to make it more comfortable. And in the sense that I will be adding air conditioning to this vehicle.
Is it, let's see. So that tells me it has to be a big cruiser. That's what I'm
just going to like do blank face, so you guys don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to. I'm guessing big cruiser. Maybe, probably, let's see. Not a Cadillac.
And remember, he's not, I should say this to everyone, Jim is not into one brand.
Yeah, he's into, I do remember.
Chrysler.
He has no brand.
He really wants a Carmen Ghia, but I don't think he'd fit in it.
What would you have bought so suddenly after he offered it up?
It is, I'll tell you this first. I'll tell you this too. It was made before the 1980s.
Okay.
There are many decades before the 80s. Just so you know.
There are. In fact, there are so many. Brent, you got a guess?
I really have no idea.
I mean,
his uncle has. I can't say everything, but he's got
like
I can make it harder. This is going to be good.
Sure.
It has 13-inch wire spoke hubcaps.
So that would put me back into like
a Cadillac
coupe or something like that.
On that order.
or like I'd almost go back to a Cadillac, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm always-
I would agree with wire spoke wheels, something Cadillac.
They're hubcaps. That's the key. Hubcaps. Would a Cadillac have hubcaps, or would it have actual?
Oh,
wire
it's
spoke
hubcaps.
wheels?
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear hubcaps.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
It does not. The car was made before shoulder belts were invented.
So it's got a big bench seat.
Ding. That's the first correct thing.
Okay.
There is a bench seat, and I'm thrilled about that. Because
Like,
bench seats were not the most common way this car would come.
I would assume automatic.
What was that?
Yeah, I think I can answer transmission. Yes, it's an automatic, which is weird for me, but I'll take it.
I mean, it's an old cruiser. I don't want to shift through a big cruiser.
I already got the Mustang if I want to torture myself with something agricultural.
It's not a driving experience. It's a cruising experience.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be a Lincoln?
God, I'm trying to think of how we can make this fun. Okay, so I'll put it this way: it is.
No, Lincoln wouldn't have hubcaps.
We're getting closer. It has stainless steel trim. It's got chrome bumpers. It has 2 doors. It is. Oh yes.
Ford
yes.
Fairlane?
Perfect. I don't know. It is. This car was born and then was quickly made absolutely irrelevant by its own company. There has never been a better example of self-cannibalization ever than this large American manufacturer, huge American manufacturer.
Sounds like a Pontiac.
But think about it. What car and it's not 1950s. So it's between 1960 and 1967, because 67 is when shoulder belt showed up.
All right. It's gone on too long. I think you gotta call it there.
All right.
Exactly.
I'm going to show you this first picture is not the actual car. It's an example of the car, and it's in the same color, same body style, but it doesn't have the same wheels. And then like the fourth picture or so is the actual car. All right, so I got to do it like this. This is like, it's kind of anticlimactic because I'm really excited about it, but I mean, it's not like a car that people are gonna like, do backflips for. It is an absolutely little rough around the edges, but in such a minor way, a North Carolina sold, literally, and I mean this literally, never had rust ever. 1965 Ford Falcon 2-door hardtop in red.
Do you know, I was so hesitant to say a Ford Falcon, but I was definitely thinking like a Ford Falcon, and I was like, no, that wouldn't be a Ford Falcon. Like we didn't sell that many here, right? Like I remember that was a thing. Like they never sold that.
Well, and the thing was, two Charlies at the let me get another picture. This is it from the back angle.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. Is it this car? Like I was saying, it was launched with the Mercury Comet like 60, and I believe the Falcon, it was either the Comet or the Falcon. It was almost supposed to be like its own brand, kind of.
Yeah.
And they quickly realized that wasn't going to work, and of course, the people that actually know this are going to be watching this like horrified at what I'm saying. But and then this body style came out in 64, 65. It was launched essentially maybe like 5-6 months before the Mustang. And then it was completely made irrelevant. Like April 1964, the Mustang premieres. This car is completely irrelevant instantly. And I can show you. Hold on, I can show you.
Man, those cars look so perfect when they like.
There we go.
When they are like low, like those are like perfect like low rider cars.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm looking at like. I've already gone down the like Google image search of like slammed Ford Falcons. Yeah. Like, fuck yeah.
Well, so I'll give you some features on it. Let me show you the actual car. And this picture I'm about to show you, I took in 2004, and the car has not moved 1 inch since then. This is precisely the same place it is now.
Tight.
This is the actual car, and there are the 13-inch Wires. That was a good curveball because it's like, what has that?
I almost also said Ford Galaxy, which would have been a close.
No, one of y'all said Fairlane, and this is like
said
the
the
smaller
Fairlane.
predecessor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it is a hard top, which is awesome, and the fact that it's never had rust is amazing. The paint job is a one. It's been oversprayed once, but it's basically, this car is essentially been in dry storage since 1965. Like no one thinks it was ever stored outside. And the fun part is that the hard top option was actually relatively expensive versus the post cars and all that.
They had to get those welds right.
But the thing is that, like, so this car, it's the Futura trim. You can see that with the badge here. And I believe that included some of the fancier stainless and stuff, and it says Falcon back in the corner there. So this car is a two-door hardtop with a bench seat, which is awesome. I always loved bench seats. But this car had factory air conditioning, which was a $400 option. Brent's very thrilled. He just yawned. But it's got a horizontally posed Subaru engine in it. Yeah, he's like, yeah. That was originally an air conditioning car, which is like a $360 option. If you adjust for inflation, it's like $3,500. It was a really expensive option. It was more than twice what it would have been for them to have gone with the V8, which naturally they did not go with. So this is the 100 horsepower, 170 cubic inch straight six with an automatic. And by the way, Charlie, this is the earlier straight six, so it's the 170. It's not even the 200. So the 170 was usually coupled with a 2-speed automatic.
Oh my God.
Jesus!
Do you know? I was honestly, I was like, there's a butt here. There's a butt coming.
There's a butt.
And I was like, man, like, I feel like this car, if it's so well taken care of and so, like, that would be like a pretty, like, clean it up, and it's like suddenly a very, like, valuable car to someone, right? Like,
yeah.
And I'm definitely was just like, there's a butt here.
There has to be a butt.
There has to be a butt. There's the butt. It's
and the butt is it's rust free. So sure. I mean, and
which is always the best part.
Yeah, it is the best part, and we all know that. And having been through the Mustang experience, I can say that, like, this car, if I was smart financially, I would take every mechanical part off my Mustang and just put it on this car. And just call it and then I would be ahead financially. But of course, I'm not going to do that. This car has got 4-lug, little tiny wheels. It's got a weak ass rear axle. Like Chrysler and all them, they did. Their 6 cylinders had the same sort of running gear basically as the basic V8 cars. Ford did not do that. Ford spent the time to engineer crappy shit to put on the car for the 6. I have no idea why. No one knows why. I mean, the amount of money, it doesn't seem like a good trade-off. So this car is a straight 6. It's an air conditioning car. And that's where that whole making it slower thing is that I intend to put a classic air system in this car. It's and make it slower.
Now, are you going to do the original AC, which I know would require an extra retrofit of like R134 stuff? Like,
yeah, the way it works is that you can there's a few ways to do it. I actually have a source to get, they have like the under dash thing. We all know that, right? The little,
I've seen, the like new ones that are like full electric and don't require like a belt drive or anything like that, or a clutch or anything.
Well, this one, the classic air systems I'm looking at are basically a direct replacement for what was in there originally, but they run on the newer coolant, and they have better quality clutches and things like that, and they have an under dash like unit with the 4 little adjustable cups, kind of like those things in airplanes. You adjust the air, but it's under the dash. And there is actually a way to use an original 60s, one of the under dash units that you can recondition, and then you can use the modern guts under the hood. Gotcha. So I'm not really sure what path I'm going to take. I'm not going to get crazy with this thing. I don't have a lot of money, so I'll probably just get the classic air kit maybe next fall, which actually makes no sense. So maybe spring 2022.
Before you need it.
Yeah. I mean, but this is going to be a full-on cruiser, guys. Like,
cool.
It's going to be awesome.
Lowrider.
No lowrider. I mean, I could always do that later in life, but there's so few of these left that have a straight 6. And one of the things I'm really excited about is taking to Cars and Coffee and having some like 60 to 80-year-old white guy tell me, when are you going to put a V8 in it? We're trying to come up with what to say,
Just say never and stare him down.
was gonna be like, yeah, you may have more cylinders, but I have more main bearings, punk. Actually, on the 170, I don't think it did. Like, I think they improved it on the ones.
I feel like it's not gonna hold water. That's don't go into that territory.
We'll do a whole nother episode another time because I've been talking way too much so far on this one, but I'll do a whole episode or whole section one time on the poorly designed like exhaust setup on this car. It has like a shared port for 2 of the cylinders, and like the way that it's got a 1-barrel carburetor, and the way it gives gas to the 6 cylinders by design, some of them get less gas than the others. It's truly awful.
Yeah,
it's truly awful.
I mean, just means more fuel, more power. Figure it out, make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought you guys would enjoy that.
Awesome. Yeah, just put a 2JZ in it.
So when
keep 6 cylinders.
When does it show up?
I wanted a straight 6 too, Charlie.
I mean, look, there you go. That's the ultimate. Not an ultimate blasphemy, but it's a good blasphemy.
It is.
Start hanging out on engineswapdepot.com.
I could. There's actually a company in I believe it's it's called Vintage Inlines. I don't know if they're based in Australia, but
sounds right.
It's been so long since I've been into the straight 6s because I don't want to get into it now. I had a Mustang with a straight 6, and it was just theoretical then, but now it's not theoretical. They actually have a full bolt-on aluminum head for this car now. And it has a separate intake runner and everything. You can put like a small 4-barrel on it with the aluminum head and the headers and a mild cam, and it goes from 100 horsepower to 220. And it already had 200. This car, right as it sits, has 220, 230 pounds of torque as it sits. So, that plus a 2-speed automatic.
Yeah, but burning it up, man.
Burning it up. So, Brent, I just mailed the check to my uncle. He's going to mail me back the title. I'm going to call Haggerty and get it on insurance. And then I already got a quote from Reliable to get it down here. It's like, I would go get it myself because that would be really fun. But dealing with COVID and like renting trucks and driving to Ohio.
Getting the plate. And,
I was going to say, towing it doesn't, like, trailering it from Ohio yourself. It's
fun. I've done it.
I mean, like, I'm sure it's a great experience, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm like, hard pass.
I trailered my straight 6 Mustang from New Orleans to Cleveland behind a U-Haul. Every time an 18-wheeler passed me, it was like death. It was like the whole thing's like jackknifing back and forth. I'm like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, just speed wobbling the whole way.
Yeah. So Brent, I'd say probably like 3 weeks or something, 4 weeks, maybe tops.
Very cool.
But,
that'd be very exciting. That'd be a cool project.
I'm so excited. It's not the pickup truck I needed.
We're gonna get you, a good set of wrenches, so you don't strip the heads off all your bolts.
Yeah, that's correct.
Teach you how to use an easy out. We're gonna get you helicoils.
Yes. My uncle pronounced it helicoil.
Helicoil is fine too.
Okay.
I've heard both.
Brent's like, I just called it an H-coil because I'm from California.
I won't argue with the Midwestern
both.
about accents. They'll start talking about their bubblers and shit.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's cool. So, so what else is going on with you guys, man? I mean, Charlie's got a job lined up again. That's awesome.
Wait, what?
I just said Charlie.
Charlie's always had a job.
That was a test to see if y'all were paying attention.
Right. Wow.
What's up with you guys?
Yeah.
Not buying a car. In fact, doing everything but buying a car, I think. Battery in the Volvo died because it sat too long and I didn't drive it around.
No.
So, like, the one day Helen needed the Volvo, she went to crank it and it was like, no, you're not. And of course, I don't have a jump pack or anything like that, so I just came and scooped and shuttled her around.
Call me next time. I have a jump pack you can borrow.
You are like 3 times away. It takes longer.
He could drive to Advance Auto, get one, come back, jump the car, go back to Advance Auto, return it, and then go all the way back home by the time he would get to your place.
I am 9 minutes from Charlie's house. What are y'all talking about? Actually, with the Fiesta, it's 5.
I have taken that drive. It is I won't call it 9 minutes.
You know, maybe I'm like using my imagination a little bit and
Yeah,
like
a little generous.
imagining there's no speed limit.
Yeah.
And no traffic.
And I mean, it's Charlottesville, so it's like if you got to be somewhere, anywhere, and you're there in 8 minutes. So whatever.
Yeah, I always say with like Charlottesville, it's like no matter where you're going, you could just say I'll be there in around 15 minutes, and that's generally correct. You know,
I mean, if you can't get from one side to the other in 15 minutes, you probably went the wrong way.
By the way, I have my imagination of Volvo batteries is that they're like weird somehow. Oh, look, Charlie froze again. I love that.
He's done.
Charlie, that's what you look like frozen.
Well, when he watches the video, he'll see it too. So
Okay. Look, it's he's so peaceful looking though.
All I heard was sad face.
It's a big sad face. I was like watching and like you're like all I can think about for Volvo batteries, and then like you just paused, and I was like,
just pause.
The best thing is I only now get the your internet connection is unstable notice, and I'm like, it's
No way.
literally fiber internet. Like, what are you talking? Like, how can it be unstable?
I was imagining Volvo batteries would be different somehow. Like, you know, GM had those weird side terminals for a while. Like a Volvo, you know, they're like a safety-minded company. Does it have like a cushion around it or something, or is it just totally normal?
Nope, same. Okay. I think it might even be the same battery I have in the GTI.
Ooh,
like same 50-pound, 40-pound battery, whatever. But I don't know. It's a battery. It's a Duralast. I don't really care.
What's the longest you guys have had a battery last?
Huh?
Like on a daily driver. What's the longest you've had a battery last on a daily driver?
The factory GTI one made it 4 years, 5 years. I've had batteries last about 5 to 8, depending.
Yeah. What about you, Brent?
I have no idea. I mean,
he sells his cars too quickly, I think.
I had to replace the BRZ once in Charlottesville. I think that was after probably 2 years of owning it. But I mean, it was already a used car, so
yeah.
I believe it was the stock battery. So I mean, you're probably talking 5 years at that point.
My record was I thought it must have been my mom's.
And I honestly, going back on it, I think the Subaru back home, that should still have the same battery in it from probably 2009. And I know
that's impressive.
I know my dad cranked the car a couple, like a year or so ago. So
yeah.
That's impressive. My I think it was my 99 Beetle. I was trying to think of which car was it. It must have been the 99 Beetle. Had I think it made it 7 years. Which is pretty darn incredible. That was my 99 Beetle. It had had a blower. So I had to cut a hole in the hood. It's like, I think it was amazing. Actually, the craziest new Beetle I've seen is there's a local guy, Charlie. I'm sure you know who he is. The guy who had the diesel one that was slammed.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, GTI Ben Kenobi knows him. But it was that was kind of cool, man. I mean, slamming a diesel, like.
Yeah, it's he definitely pushes all of his cars to the ground.
Didn't he weld something to make it that short? Like he welded
to get a Beetle, like a modern car that low, you have to actually notch the subframe.
Oh wow!
So it can actually like extend the lower arms.
Yeah.
And to do that, you basically have to like cut out with like a hole saw, and then you put a strip of metal. You weld a strip of metal and box the steel back together.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's kind of it's a not for the faint of heart.
Didn't he crack his transmission or something?
Yeah, I think he like cracked his transmission because he like literally hit like a pothole, basically. Like that.
Yeah.
It's one of those like if you're about that life, that's what you are in for. Like, sorry. But yeah, so he's done that with a number of cars now. Like I think his GTI was also slammed. I mean, hey, it hit his money, like, or whoever. not about that life personally. Like, I like to be able to go
Not at all.
over, like, I like to be over. I got a speed bump outside my house. Like, I
I
got to get
know.
over that every day. I'm not going. Like,
And
even
that was hard just getting over it in the BRZ.
I know. I mean, like now they've like redone it so it's even wider and like slightly taller. So like every low car on my neighborhood goes like 45 on it, or goes like at a 45-degree angle, not 45 miles per hour. But then it's also funny seeing like the odd cars that will also take the speed bump at an angle where you're like, you are a Chrysler like minivan. Why are you taking this speed bump at an angle? Like,
Oh, obviously there are other cars, a Ferrari 458.
Yeah,
It's a habit.
It's habit.
You know.
It's habit. Yeah, definitely.
It's habit.
But yeah, it's pretty comical. Like, and also like, I feel like I should just set a sign up for like the local, like a local suspension shop or something, because I've heard so many cars just like full send.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
hit that bump, and it's just like you hear the suspension like bottom out, and
yeah.
like, yeah, it's rough. Can't do it. But,
Well, I have a really cool sort of mechanical mystery for you guys. It's something that I oh yeah, sorry, that was really subtle. So I someone just texted me who's on the thing right now. So this is my cousin Joe is changing the radiator on his YJ Jeep. And to those of you who don't know, it's the first time we talk about Jeeps. Probably
who's got like a Phillips head screwdriver and like a 10 mil
and a hammer and a hammer and a hamburger actually.
Yeah. I mean,
let me see.
It also needs a 6-pack.
Oh yeah. And so this is a picture of the before. Actually, this is the after. You can see it. He was changing the radiator. And I'm really proud of Joe. Joe is a professional mechanic. Look how tiny the motor is, by the way. It's the 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
I absolutely made fun of him because naturally he didn't change the radiator hoses when he was doing this. Like, there's like the dingiest, oldest radiator hoses, you know. But thank you, professional mechanic. Anyway,
mostly like there's like a boatload of oil on the like air box on that in that photo, and it's just like, what is happening there? I don't.
Is it like a 19 it's probably power steering fluid actually. I think there's a power steering fluid pump on that side.
Some oily schmutz, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right, Joe. Good work, Joe, if you're watching this. All right. So
looking super
where's my
clean.
little arrow? So this is where the mystery comes in, gentlemen. So we put in the radiator, you know, yada yada. There's the old radiator. Pretty exciting stuff. And we're coming to the mystery. What in this photo is weird to you mechanically? There's nothing, I mean, yes, the radiator's gone. It's nothing that something's missing. There's something, a part in this car, there's something really weird about it. And I want to see, after we identify, y'all pick it out, I want to try to figure out why they did this. So what in there looks really weird? It's pretty obvious.
The fan, there's teeth in front of the fan? What is
That's a clutch. No, but
it's
keep
a clutch
focusing on the fan.
Sorry,
5 blades, right?
That spacing on the top two is weird.
Yes, bingo. What I looked at this picture for about a week.
Jesus.
And I was like, what the crap? And it's not a 5-cylinder, it's not a 3-cylinder where there's a weird, weight they have to counteract or something. But is that not the weirdest thing you've ever seen?
And it doesn't vibrate like a mother?
I have no idea. I'll have to ask him.
That seems wild. That doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem natural.
Maybe it's a Jeep and he hit something, but it doesn't look damaged. Like there's no damage here.
That looks standard.
I don't know. It looks yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It's not, I mean, I could see if it was like a 3-cylinder or a 5-cylinder and like they wanted to use a smaller like counterweight on the crankshaft or something like that. They would use an off-center fan.
To be honest.
Well, it looks like it lost some teeth or some
something
fan blades itself.
Oh, you think maybe it had like a lot more blades at some point? But look how evenly spaced these 4 are.
Yeah, it's so weirdly.
That's just the weird
though. Like,
yeah.
Oh, maybe I figured it out. Maybe the clutch. You guys know how a fan clutch works, right?
Yeah.
Where it's basically once you get to a certain RPM, it just stops driving the fan because it's just causing parasitic load, and you don't need it because there's enough airflow passing over the car. presumably. But I'm thinking maybe this clutch is out of balance, and so the fan counteracts that. Like maybe there's some sort of weight or spring. I mean, obviously there's a coil spring right here. Maybe.
Possible.
Even on the 2000 to 2006 Wrangler, they have one that's offset like that. I mean, it's exactly pretty much like that.
Wait, you know what that means, guys? Anyone who's a Jeep person who's watching this knows the answer. It's really obvious, and they can tell we're not Jeep people.
Oh yeah, it's fine. I'm not a Jeep person.
I love them. I just don't have one.
Not at all.
I'm also like a belt-driven fan. That's interesting.
Yes, a V-belt.
Yeah.
I'm very used to those.
Certain V-belt. You. How often do you change that?
These not very. These are so easy to change too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, but like I'm thinking of like on your car, on your Fiesta, or my GTI, or my Volvo. It's like
even on the schematic, it shows it being off like that too.
That's funny. That's so weird.
That's weird.
People,
I thought y'all would enjoy that.
Why is that? Someone explain it.
Yeah, please leave in the comments below.
Yes, please.
Let us know why.
Tell us how dumb we are. It's cool.
Help the non-Jeep people. I'm gonna totally subtly read this text message.
Oh, that was a wonderful lesson in Jeep life. I'm also told if they're found a certain way, you're supposed to, if you can read the sticker, you're supposed to turn them over the other way.
Yep.
And they have something with their front axle. It's called life wobble. By the way, I didn't know that existed, and I've always wanted a Jeep, and now I'm like,
Death Wobble is terrifying to watch videos of. That looks so crazy.
How have more people died from that? I know all you have to do is slow down. I know you still have control over the car technically.
Well, I think it's also largely an issue with modification. Is that correct? I think
not always.
It's not really a stock thing. It's like if you.
Yeah, I thought it was modified.
I think you like.
It can happen on stock. I think it's more prone on modified ones, but I think it can be stock.
Interesting. Well, there you go. Again, someone knows about this. Tell us more.
There was the new Jeep. The new Jeep it was a little more prone to it than people had expected, and I believe they did some adjustments. They changed like how hard some of the bushings are in the steering. Okay, I'm probably making that.
Oh yeah, but that was like a suspension resonance, like the fluid, like the gel point was like too high, so like if it got below freezing, it was more prone to it. Like
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
We all had that memory buried in our heads. We read way too many car news websites. Is what it really means.
Trolling car forums long enough. And on that note, I think we probably should wrap it up.
Oh, I have one last thing. I promise it's one sentence, guys. I don't know when this is going to air, but should we plug that thing that's happening on Saturday from 8 to 11 a.m.? Okay, I don't know when this is going to air.
That was 3. No, that's going to be next week.
Oh, okay. So this past weekend, guys, there was a Charlottesville Cars and Coffee from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And it went...
First and third Saturdays.
Yeah, we should actually do this right. First and third Saturday. By Greenberry Coffee in Charlottesville, Barracks Road Shopping Center. 8 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Great.
Buy coffee.
Wear your mask.
Wear a mask, please.
Wear your
Just be conscientious to humans.
Protect Barry at all cost.
Yes, we must protect Barry. It's not hard to wear a mask. You can do it. And it's really great fun to anyone who hasn't been there before, and to the veterans of going there. We look forward to seeing you again. It's been way too long, like January,
Been a while.
Okay, well, thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in.
Peace out.
If you enjoyed DAG Show, please like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. We are also available on iTunes and Spotify by searching for Delusions of Automotive Grandeur. Thanks again for tuning in, and as always, may the grandeur of your automobiles be delusional.